My grandmother was the kind of old woman who smelled of lavender and buried secrets. She raised me in her sprawling, decaying Victorian house after my parents died in a car accident when I was 6. The house had rules. Don't go into the garden after dusk. Never answer the front door if you hear 3 distinct knocks. Always leave a saucer of milk on the back porch at midnight. And above all, never, under any circumstances, open the standing wardrobe in the attic. It's not a wardrobe, Alara, she'd tell me, her gnarled hands clutching her teacup. It's a door, and some doors should remain closed. The wardrobe was a massive, dark oak thing with carved symbols I didn't recognize, neither letters nor numbers, but twisting, looping shapes that made my eyes hurt if I stared too long. It stood in the farthest corner of the attic, under the slanted eaves, covered in a thick layer of dust that even the boldest spiders avoided. Gran died last month, peacefully, in her sleep. The house was left to me, along with a sealed letter I was to read only after her funeral. The letter contained a single sentence. If you open the wardrobe, remember, it's just a game, and you must win. I dismissed it as the ramblings of an old woman losing her grip on reality. I had the estate to settle, debts to pay. The house, for all its size, was a money pit. I decided to sell it. That's when the noises started. At first, it was just the house settling, creaks and groans I'd known all my life. Then, 3 nights ago, I heard it. A soft, rhythmic knock, knock, knock from the attic. Not the random tapping of branches. A pattern, deliberate. I told myself it was a trapped bird, a loose shutter. But the knocking came every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., and last night, it changed. After the 3 knocks, a voice, small, distant, and terrified, whispered through the keyhole I never realized the wardrobe had. Alara, please. It's dark in here. Let me out. It was my own voice. I couldn't sleep. The voice called my name in whispers all night. Shifting. Sometimes it sounded like me at age 8. Sometimes like me now. Sometimes like an old woman I'd never become. Armed with a baseball bat and my phone's flashlight, I went to the attic at dawn. The wardrobe seemed larger in the weak morning light, the carvings almost pulsing with a faint internal glow. I stood before it, my hand hovering over the brass handle. Do I open it? I asked the empty air, half expecting Gran to answer. The keyhole, a tarnished silver hole, I swear hadn't been there before, emitted a soft blue light. The voice from inside, now clear and calm, spoke. To open is to play. To play is to risk. To win is to understand. What is your choice, player 1? My choice. Gran's letter. It's just a game. I turned the handle. The doors didn't swing open. They dissolved into shimmering mist. Beyond wasn't the back of a wardrobe, but a long, stone corridor lit by flickering torches. The air smelled of ozone and old books. And standing in the corridor, shivering in a thin white shift, was me. Not a mirror image, a version. This one had a scar across her left eyebrow I didn't have. Her eyes held a hardness mine lacked. She hugged herself, looking at me with a mixture of hope and resentment. I'm Ilara of the stone corridor, she said. You're the prime, the anchor. I've been waiting. The wardrobe doors solidified behind me, becoming a solid stone wall. A disembodied, melodic voice echoed around us. Neither male nor female. Welcome to the first wardrobe. The game is simple. Reach the end of the corridor together. Fail, and the challenger fades. Succeed, and the challenger may ask one question of the prime. Why? I breathed. What is this? The other Ilara, stone corridor Ilara, grabbed my arm. Her grip was ice cold. It's the inheritance. Gran didn't just leave you a house. She left you the wardrobe game. She was a player who won. Now it's your turn. And I'm your first piece. As we walked, she told me her story. In her timeline, Gran died when she was 10. She grew up in foster care, hardened by the system. She was studying to be a forensic pathologist. She was, in essence, who I might have become without Gran's protection. But we're not clones, I asked. We're reflections, she said. Every major choice in your life created a splinter, a version of you who made a different decision. The wardrobe connects to their waiting rooms. Gran's game kept them contained. Now that she's gone, the wards are failing. We're spilling out. And if too many of us occupy the same reality for too long, we cause a dissonance. Things unravel. The corridor wasn't empty. Doors lined the walls, each bearing a nameplate. Alara, the lawyer. Ilara, the runaway. Alara, the drowned girl. Behind some, I heard scratching. Behind others, weeping. What's behind the doors? I whispered. The ones who lost their games, Stone Corridor Alara said grimly. Ahead, the corridor forked. The game voice spoke. Choose your path. Left, the prime answers a question truthfully. Right, the challenger reveals a secret. Stone Alara looked at me. Left, I need to know something. We took the left path. The corridor ended in a small chamber with a single chair. I sat. Stone Alara stood before me, her face intense. My question, did Gran ever tell you why her daughter, your mother, really left the house at 16 and never returned? I blinked. She ran away with my father. They had a fight about truth, the game voice commanded. The words spilled out of me unbidden, in a voice not quite my own. She opened the wardrobe. She played a game. She lost. Gran told everyone she ran away. But she's behind one of these doors. Stone Alara staggered back, her hand over her mouth. I thought so. In my timeline, there were rumors, whispers that Gran had done something. Question answered. Proceed. A new door appeared in the chamber wall. We pushed through it and found ourselves back in my attic before the wardrobe. The stone corridor was gone. Stone Alara remained, now looking more solid, more real. You won, she said softly. I get to stay. For now. But what happens now? I asked. She pointed to the wardrobe. A new carving had appeared on its surface, a tiny, intricate maze. The game has levels. You've unlocked the next one, and it will send you to find another of us, and another, until what? Until you face the final wardrobe, the one where the very first Ilara, the one who made the choice that created all of us, is kept. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Well played, Prime. But the game isn't about saving us. It's about replacing her, the lawyer. I looked at Stone Alara. How many of us are there? She smiled, a bitter twist of lips. How many choices have you made in your life, Ilara? Every crossroad, every what if. We are your what ifs. And we're all very tired of waiting in the dark. That night, I heard two voices from the wardrobe. And the knocking came at 2:17 and 2:18. The second game activated 3 nights later. The wardrobe's surface rippled like water, showing a reflection not of my attic, but of a rain-lashed pier at night. I could hear the crash of waves and a girl sobbing. I didn't hesitate. I stepped through. I emerged onto the pier, the wardrobe becoming a rusty lifeguard stand behind me. At the end of the pier, a girl in a soaked summer dress huddled, her back to me. I knew her shape, her hair. I approached slowly. Alara? She turned. Her face was pale, blue-lipped, water dripping from her hair. This was the drowned girl. In her timeline, she'd gone swimming at night after a fight with Gran, caught in a riptide. She was 12 forever. You're late, she chattered, her voice young and trembling. The others said you'd come. The stone one told me. The game voice spoke, this time with the sound of rushing water beneath it. The second wardrobe. Return the challenger to dry land before the tide claims you both. The rules? You cannot touch the water. She cannot walk on the pier. A wave crashed against the pilings, spraying us with icy salt water. The pier groaned. The drowned girl pointed a shaking finger out to sea. A line of bioluminescent green lights snaked through the black water, moving toward us. Not lights, eyes. The tidewalkers, she whispered. They serve the game. If we fall in, they take us to the deep doors. I had no rope, no boat. The pier was long, and the wardrobe-turned lifeguard stand was at the far end. The water was rising. Think, I told myself aloud. You're the same person. What would I know? The drowned girl's eyes lit up. The riddle. Gran loved riddles. Before I went swimming, she told me one. I have a bed but never sleep. I have a mouth but never eat. I run but have no legs. What am I? A river, I said instantly. Gran had told me the same riddle. The drowned girl nodded frantically. Yes, she said if I ever was in trouble near water, to remember the river, not the water. The path of the water. I looked at the pier boards. The water was seeping up between the cracks. But the boards themselves, they formed a path, a narrow, specific path. Can you walk on the dry parts? If I show you exactly where to step. She looked doubtful, but nodded. I closed my eyes, thinking like the water. Where would the highest ground be? Where would the structure be strongest? I remembered helping Gran fix this very pier in my childhood. Memory this girl didn't have. Step there, I commanded, pointing to a specific board. Then there. Don't look at the water. Look at my feet. Copy me. It was an agonizingly slow dance. I'd take a step, she'd mimic. The green-eyed thing circled below. their whispers rising like bubbles. Join us. The deep is quiet. The deep has no choices. We were halfway when a massive wave hit, soaking the entire pier. The drowned girl screamed as her feet touched the water-slicked wood. She began to fade, becoming translucent. No, I shouted. The riddle. I have a bed but never sleep. The riverbed. The foundation under the water. I dropped to my knees, not caring about the water now, and scraped at the wet wood with my fingernails. Beneath the rotten top board was an older, stone layer, the original pier foundation, dry and rough. Here, walk on this. She stumbled onto the stone path, solidifying again. We scrambled the rest of the way, reaching the lifeguard stand just as a colossal wave swallowed the end of the pier. I yanked the drowned girl through the door of the stand, and we fell into my attic in a heap of salt water and splinters. She lay on the floor, coughing up seawater that vanished like smoke. Then she sat up, no longer dripping, wearing dry clothes, a simple gray dress. She looked at her hands, amazed. I'm warm, she breathed. The wardrobe now had 2 carvings, the maze and a flowing river. The drowned girl, who asked me to call her Ellie, stayed close to me. She was childlike, curious, hauntingly sad. That night, as we sat by the fire, she told me what she'd learned in the dark place. The doors aren't just for losers, she said, staring into the flames. They're archives. I could hear them. The other Alaras behind their doors. Some were singing, some were screaming, and some were empty. The game has been played before, by other families, other anchors. Gran wasn't the first player in our bloodline. She was the latest. Who was the first? I asked. Ellie's young face grew solemn. The first Alara, the prime of all primes. She's in the final wardrobe. She's the one who made the original choice, the choice that created the need for the game. And she's angry. The lawyer talks to her through the doors. The lawyer says she's been waiting a very long time to trade places with one of us. The next morning, I found a legal document on my kitchen table. It was a perfectly formatted petition for identity assumption. Argued that since all Alaras shared the same origin point, the most competent version should assume the prime life. It was signed Alara Blackwood, Eskimir the lawyer, and a sticky note attached. I'll see you in court, literally. 3rd wardrobe unlocks at midnight. Be prepared. I don't lose. The 3rd wardrobe didn't wait for midnight. At exactly 9 p.m., the oak doors swung open on their own, revealing a courtroom. Not a modern one. A wooden, Puritan-era courtroom with a packed gallery of silent, shadowy spectators. Sitting at the defendant's table was the lawyer. She wore a sharp black suit, her hair in a severe bun, her eyes cold and calculating. She gestured to the empty plaintiff's chair. Right on time. Please have a seat. We're about to begin. The game voice now spoke with the cadence of a judge's gavel. The 3rd wardrobe, trial of identity. The challenger prosecutes. The prime defends. The jury will decide who is more essential. The penalty, assimilation. I object to this entire proceeding, I said, remaining standing. This isn't a legal matter, it's metaphysical. Overruled, the lawyer said smoothly, her voice echoing the game voice. Sit down. Prime, or I'll have you held in contempt of your own existence. I sat. The shadow jury, 12 faceless figures, leaned forward. The prosecution's case is simple, the lawyer began, pacing before them. The prime Alara is a passive, underachieving woman who has squandered her potential. She works a dead-end job, has no meaningful relationships, and inherited a legacy she doesn't understand. I, on the other hand, graduated top of my class at Yale Law. I've argued before the Supreme Court. I am, in every measurable way, a superior iteration. The estate, the life, the very identity of Alara would be better served by my stewardship. The shadows murmured. I felt a terrifying pull, as if her words were literally trying to erase me. My turn? I asked, my voice shaky. The lawyer smirked. By all means. Defend your mediocrity. I stood. I had no notes, no strategy. I just spoke to the shadows, to the wardrobe itself. She's right. I'm not a high achiever. I work at a library. I've never been married. I sometimes eat cereal for dinner, but I loved Gran, and she loved me. She chose me to be the anchor, not the brilliant lawyer, not the hardened survivor, not the eternal child. Me. I turned to the lawyer. You asked what makes me essential? I'm the one who remembers Gran singing off-key in the kitchen. I'm the one who knows where she hid the Christmas ornaments. I'm the one who held her hand when she died. You have achievements. I have memories. And this, I gestured around the courtroom, this legacy isn't about who's most successful. It's about who's most connected. The wardrobe isn't a corporate ladder. It's a family tree. And Gran put me at the root. The lawyer's cool facade cracked. Sentimental nonsense. The world doesn't run on memories. It runs on power. On winning. Then why did you lose? I asked softly. She froze. What? In your timeline. You have everything, but you're here, in the dark. What choice did you make that was so terrible it landed you in a waiting room? What did you lose that I still have? For the first time, the lawyer looked uncertain. The shadow jury rustled. The game voice boomed. The jury has reached a verdict. A scale appeared in the center of the room. On one side, the lawyer placed a gleaming gold bar labeled accomplishment. On the other, I placed a single faded photograph of Gran and me making pies, my 6-year-old face smeared with flour. The scale tipped, slowly, irrevocably, toward the photograph. The prime retains her anchor. The challenger is remanded to the gallery. The lawyer screamed, a raw, furious sound as she was dragged into the shadowy audience, becoming one of the silent watchers. The courtroom faded, and I was back in the attic. But I wasn't alone. Stonalara and Ellie were there, waiting. You did it, Stonalara said, a rare smile on her face. Ellie hugged me. I knew you'd win. The wardrobe now had 3 carvings, maze, river, scales. That's 3, I said, exhausted. How many more? Stonalara's smile faded. There are 6 wardrobes. We've unlocked 3. The next is the runaway. Then the broken one. Then the final wardrobe. Who's the broken one? I asked. Ellie shivered. The one who opened a door she shouldn't have. The one who touched the original choice. She's not like us. She's damaged, and she blames Gran. That night, the knocking didn't come from the wardrobe. It came from the front door. 3 distinct knocks. I remembered Gran's rule. Never answer the front door if you hear 3 distinct knocks. From the window, I saw a woman standing on the porch, her back to me. She wore a tattered version of my favorite yellow dress. Her hair was matted. She was humming a lullaby Gran used to sing. As I watched, she slowly turned her head, her neck craning at an impossible angle, until she was looking directly at me through the glass. Her eyes were empty sockets, and she was smiling. The runaway had come to me. I didn't answer the door. Gran's rules existed for a reason. The runaway, the woman with the empty eyes, knocked for exactly 1 hour, then vanished as dawn broke. But she left something on the porch, a small heart-shaped locket I recognized. It belonged to my mother. Inside were 2 pictures, a young Gran and a baby, my mother. I'd never seen this locket before. The 4th wardrobe activated that afternoon. The carved symbols twisted into a new shape, a broken heart. The doors didn't open to another world. They swung wide into my own living room, but a distorted version. The furniture was covered in sheets, dust thick in the air, and the runaway sat in Gran's rocking chair facing away from me. You can ignore the door, but you can't ignore the game, she said, her voice raspy from disuse. Welcome to my home, or what's left of it. This wasn't a trial or a puzzle. This was a memory, the runaway's memory. The 4th wardrobe, witness the choice. Understand the consequence. To proceed, you must speak the truth you learn. The living room shimmered. Suddenly it was decades younger. The sheets vanished. The dust cleared. A teenage girl, my mother. Lena stood arguing with a younger Gran. I was a ghost in my own home. You can't keep me prisoner. Lena screamed, her face tear-streaked. He loves me. We're leaving tonight. Gran looked ancient in that moment, holding the very locket now in my hand. Lena, my darling, if you walk out that door with him, you will die. Not metaphorically. In every timeline where you choose him, you die before you're 25. The wardrobe shows me. I don't care about your stupid game. Lena shouted. It's a lie. You're just trying to control me. She turned to leave. Gran did something then that made my blood run cold. She didn't plead. She walked to the wardrobe, a smaller, less ornate version in the corner of the room, and opened it. Not to play a game, to threaten. Lena, look. From within the wardrobe, a sobbing could be heard. The sobbing of a baby? My sobbing. That's your daughter, Gran said, her voice devoid of emotion. The one you'll have if you stay. If you leave, she never exists. Is he worth erasing her? Lena stared horrified into the wardrobe. She saw something, a future, a possibility. Her shoulders slumped in defeat. She stayed. The memory shifted. Lena, older, holding me as a baby, singing softly, but her eyes were empty, hollow. The light had gone out of her. She'd chosen my existence over her own happiness, and she grew to resent me for it. The memory fast-forwarded. The car accident. My parents died. Gran took me in, and Lena's other self, the runaway, the version who did leave, with the man she loved, watched. From the shadows of the wardrobe, forever separated from the life she wanted. Knowing her other self had died unhappy, the living room returned to its dusty, covered state. The runaway finally turned the rocking chair to face me. Her empty sockets seemed to see right through me. "Now you know," she whispered. Gran didn't just predict the future. She enforced it. She used the wardrobe to blackmail her own daughter into a life that killed her. She sacrificed my mother's happiness for your existence. Do you feel grateful? Or guilty? I couldn't speak. The truth was a stone in my throat. "Speak the truth you learned," the game voice commanded. The words were ash. Gran manipulated time. She forced a choice to create me. She's not the guardian. She's the architect. Truth acknowledged. The runaway is freed from her resentment. The runaway stood. The empty sockets filled with soft brown light, my eyes. She looked at me with a profound sadness. "I don't blame you," she said. "You were just a baby, a possibility, but I can't stay here. In a world built on that choice." She walked past me, out the front door of the memory house, and kept walking down a road that faded into mist. She was choosing to fade entirely, rather than live in the shadow of Gran's manipulation. I fell to my knees in the dusty living room. The fourth wardrobe carving, the broken heart, glowed briefly, then darkened. Stone Ilara and Ellie found me there hours later. I told them what I'd seen. Stone Ilara was pragmatic. "It's ugly. But if she hadn't, none of us would exist. Not you, not me, not even the drowned girl. It's a paradox." Ellie just cried. Gran was scary. "Yes," I said, a new resolve hardening inside me. She was, and now I have to finish her game. I have to face the broken one and the original, because this can't continue. This legacy of manipulation and trapped souls ends with me. The wardrobe now hummed with power, 4 carvings illuminated. The 5th, a shattered mirror, began to glow. The broken one was coming, and she wasn't waiting for a game. She was already in the house. We could hear her moving in the walls, and she was singing Gran's lullaby backwards. The broken one didn't inhabit a person. She inhabited the house itself. For 3 days, the walls bled shadows. Photographs changed. Gran's face would be scratched out, replaced with the empty sockets of the runaway. Doors led to rooms that didn't exist. Time looped. I'd make coffee, turn around, and the pot would be full again, cold. She was showing me her prison. She was the Ilara who had discovered the wardrobe's true nature first, generations ago, the one who had tried to destroy it. And as punishment, Gran's ancestor, the first player, had shattered her consciousness and woven it into the house's very foundations. She was the source of the house's rules, the whispers, the protections. She was the broken guardian. To face her, I had to go to the heart of her, the basement. The 5th wardrobe wasn't a piece of furniture. It was a door in the basement wall that only appeared when I brought all 4 other Ilaras, with me, Stone, Ellie, the silent lawyer, now just a shadow, and the memory of the runaway. The broken one's voice was the creak of the house, the sigh of the pipes. "You shouldn't have come. She'll use you like she used all of us." "Who?" I asked. "The prime of primes, the first Ilara. She's not trapped. She's waiting. And she's hungry for a new anchor." The basement door opened to a starless void. In the center floated a simple child's wardrobe, painted white. This was the final wardrobe, the original. The game voice was different now, gentler, sorrowful. It was Gran's voice. "My dear girl, you've come so far. One last game, a simple trade." The white wardrobe door opened. Inside sat a young woman in a dress from the 1800s. She was beautiful, with kind eyes. She looked like me, like all of us. "I'm Ilara," she said, "the first. I made a choice long ago to save my sister from a plague. The wardrobe offered me a deal, her life in exchange for becoming its keeper. I accepted. I didn't know it would create all this, the splinters, the games. I've been trying to find someone worthy to take my place, to tend the garden of possibilities. Your grandmother was a temporary keeper. Now it's your turn." It was a trap. A beautiful, compassionate trap. "If I take your place, what happens to me?" I asked. "You become the heart of the house. You guide the other versions. You maintain the balance, and you can make sure no one is ever forced like Lena was again. And if I refuse? Her kind face darkened. Then the wardrobe becomes unstable. All the doors open. Every Alara from every timeline spills into this world. The dissonance will unravel reality. Your friends, the other versions, they'll fade first. Then everything else. I looked at my splinters, Stone Alara, tough but loyal. Ellie, forever innocent, even the shadow of the lawyer who represented ambition gone wrong. They were parts of me, my family. Gran's voice whispered, "It's not about winning, child. It's about choosing what you save." The first Alara held out her hand. "Join me. Be the anchor that holds all possible versions of us safe." It's a noble purpose. I thought about Gran, her manipulation, her love, her fear. She'd played this game and won, but at what cost? She'd become a warden, not a guardian. I had a different idea. "I have a counteroffer," I said. The first Alara tilted her head. "The game doesn't work that way." "It does today." I stepped forward into the white wardrobe. Not to replace her, to sit beside her. "You're tired. I can see it. You've been alone for centuries. You don't need a replacement. You need a partner." I reached out and took her hand. It was cold, but real. "The game ends," I said, not to her, but to the wardrobe itself. No more winners and losers. No more trapped challengers. We open all the doors. Every Alara gets to choose, fade into peace, or live here, together, in this house that is now big enough for all its selves. The wardrobe shuddered. The void around us rippled. "You'll break the system," the first Alara whispered. But there was hope in her eyes. Some systems deserve to be broken. I poured every memory, every choice, every love and regret into that moment. The time Gran taught me to bake. The moment I learned my parents died. The kindness of Stone Alara, the laughter of Ellie, the runaway's sorrow, even the lawyer's drive. They weren't mistakes. They were a chorus. And a chorus needs no single anchor. The white wardrobe didn't dissolve. It expanded. The walls fell away, and we were standing in the attic of my house. But the attic was now infinite, with doors as far as the eye could see, all opening slowly. From each door, an Alara stepped out. Hundreds, thousands, all ages, all walks of life. The mother, the astronaut, the criminal, the saint, the one who died young, the one who lived to be 100. And they were all smiling. The first Alara, still holding my hand, began to glow. "You didn't win the game. You changed it." The house settled around us, not with a creak of pain, but with a sigh of relief. The rules were gone. The knocking stopped. "I'm Alara, the prime, but I'm also one of many." The wardrobe is still here in the attic, but now it's just a piece of furniture. The carvings are gone. Sometimes I open it and it's full of coats. Sometimes a version of me steps out to visit for tea. Sometimes it shows me a glimpse of a road not taken. Gran's letter was right. It was just a game. But games are meant to be played with others, not one alone. If you have a strange door in your house, a room that feels wrong, a family rule that makes no sense, listen. There might be other versions of you waiting in the dark, and they might not want to play a game. They might just want to come home. Look in your attic. Listen at your wardrobe. You might hear knocking,